What's up, Fumble fam? I'm Brooke.
And I'm Noelle, and you're listening to Girls Don't Fumble, the #1 sports podcast for NFL Girl Talk.
We sift through all the football news so you don't have to.
Let's get into it. Dun-dun-dun-dun. 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 Happy October 1st, everybody.
Woo.
We're excited.
Happy Halloween.
It's the beginning of fall. Actually, I think fall has already started.
Fall has sprung.
Fall has sprung, and it's officially spooky season in my eyes. Hence the Wednesday Adams shirt today. Good vibes. It's also Q4 for us, so we ended Q3 on a pretty good note.
We sure
did. Our team did well, so we're entering this season with, we're on a high note today.
We're feeling good. We're so excited. It's October. We had, great Q3. We had some pumpkin spice Oreos today.
We sure did.
Those were stunning. Nikki, if you're listening to the podcast, which I hope you are with your new baby, we loved the Oreos. So thank you for providing those. Really just ready to decorate my house, get my costumes picked out. Should we do Halloween costumes on the podcast?
Whoa, that would be crazy. Let's do it.
We dress up as the DCC.
We're just wearing our jerseys.
Hey. I'm going to be Baker Mayfield for Halloween.
That would be so fun. I would love that. I love spooky season. Pete knows he doesn't allow me to get Halloween decorations anymore because I have so many. Yeah.
Wow.
We were just at Home Goods and he said, don't even think about it. I was literally reaching for a pumpkin. He was like, no. He's like, have you seen the attic? So unfortunately, I am cut off.
Wow.
Yeah.
What if it's a really, really special thing that you need? Could there be an exception or is
No.
Okay.
Well, actually, I tell this to Noelle with clothes, with thrifting, with shoes. I say she can buy as much as she wants. It's like a one in, one out scenario, right? So if you buy a Halloween decoration, we donate one. Or we let Takeo eat it or whatever.
I fear we might get canceled for Pete being in charge.
There's no room left in the house for Halloween decorations. We hit our capacity.
Yeah, I don't know about that. There's always room.
There's always more. I'll sneak you some at work.
Thank
to
you.
Feed your addiction.
You can see in my camera angle the storage, and there's no room.
You're also looking at Noelle's big rack of clothes.
Noelle's fourth closet.
Correct. You guys, there's so much room in here, I swear. It's just all clothes. Well, happy spooky season, everybody. We're also coming off of a very fun weekend. Brooke and I both went to the Chargers game.
Woo.
Very fun and exciting. We didn't go together, but we did see each other.
Yeah, little halftime meetup. Very cute.
That was fun. First time of the season for me that I've been to SoFi, and forget how much of a crazy sight it is just to be there. I'm you're watching the game, but there's just so much going on. So you're looking around you and you're like, how many people can fit in here? I'm Googling how much the stadium holds. It's crazy. It was fun. And unfortunately our boys did not win that game, but
yeah, it was fun seeing you. That was my highlight. The Chargers losing, it was what I expected. They were playing the Chiefs, so there was never going to be a positive outcome of that game.
Yeah.
And I made peace with that before we got there, so I wasn't too upset. And, it looks like the 2023 Chargers, where they come out with a really strong drive. First quarter, they were up 10-0, and I thought, I can't wait to see how they blow this. And they did. They let the Chiefs score 17 points, completely unanswered through the last 3 quarters of the game. Even, I was talking about this earlier, there's a lot of sports meme accounts making fun of Patrick Mahomes and just saying he's still the GOAT, but he played the single worst 5 seconds of football that anyone's ever seen, where he throws an interception and then immediately tries to tackle the guy that's, the Charger that's running towards the end zone with the intercepted ball. Yeah. And instead of tackling the Charger, he tackles Rashee Rice, his star wide receiver, and sprains his ACL. So
tragic.
In 5 seconds, one foul swoop, interception, and then he took out his guy.
And somehow they still came out with the win, which was...
Stop.
No,
I thought maybe we have a chance. We didn't.
Yes. We love our Chiefs fans that are also fumblers, but also who is going to stop the Chiefs? We don't know. We'll save that for one of our game previews later on today.
We'll get into it more.
Yeah.
One victory that I want to make sure does not go unnoticed is the Bengals got the W this weekend.
We got the dub, baby.
Yay,
multiple
tutties. That's so exciting.
Against the Red Rifle.
Yep.
What an event. I was obviously at the Chargers game, but I did watch all of the highlights. Still a lot to work on the defensive side. And, you know, they have a big game this week, but I will not be covering that today. I'm just going to soak in the win because a win is a win and we just got to take it week by week.
Yeah.
But very happy to see that on my phone while we were at the
exciting.
Game. Yes.
Our teams are 2-0 against the Panthers, the worst team in the league.
Perfect.
If there's one team we can beat, it's going to be the Panthers, even with the Red Rifle.
Yes, but honestly, heading into that week, I mean, last week, in my head at the beginning of the season, like, oh, that's one of those for sure games, like guaranteed win. But after that 0-3 start, you're just like, can you imagine? Like, this is not a guarantee.
Yeah.
So that was also a positive coming out of this weekend that we were very excited about.
Like, you're not gonna lose all the games this season.
Yes, but the Joe Burrow looked good. All the guys looked good. We just got to figure it out on that other side.
They'll get there.
They'll get there. But for today, let's kick things off. We're going to be doing a little bit of a similar format to last week where we're going to be recapping some games ahead of this weekend. We'll probably be posting this episode on Wednesday or Thursday. So it's week 5. Week 5 of the NFL season. We're going to be covering and just sharing some highlights of our top 4 games that we're most excited to see. So I'm going to be kicking us off all the way in London.
Ooh, they're going to London.
We're going to London. We're not actually going to London.
If the NFL is listening, we're available to be flown out this weekend.
We can't wait. The first game that we're going to be discussing is the Vikings-Jets game. And as we mentioned, this is our third international game of the season. We've had Brazil, and there was one more before that. Or was
Germany?
Germany?
Was that before?
It's the second or third.
Okay.
I believe.
We got a lot.
We've had a few, and they're definitely going to be doing more international games, but this is going to be an exciting matchup. The Vikings are coming off of a 4-0 start to the season, which is very surprising for me. They have a starting quarterback in Sam Darnold, who has been such a joy to see, and he's been doing so well. Meanwhile, you have the Jets, who are a little up and down. They have been having some good weeks and some bad weeks. I believe their record right now is 2-2, I believe. But let's start with the Jets because they're coming off of a loss against the Denver Broncos. And what an unexciting game. They lost 10-9. And that was not what anyone was expecting. Right when the Jets will have a win, people will be like, oh, Aaron Rodgers, he's back. He's going to take us to victory. But then right after that, they'll have this terrible loss against the Broncos, who have a rookie quarterback, and they were playing at home. A lot of people will say that this game, it was in New Jersey. The weather was bad. It was really rainy and hot, but the boys were just very inconsistent in that game. They have some pretty strong guys on the offense. They have Garrett Wilson and Breece Hall, and they're pretty high up on the list when you're, choosing your fantasy teams, but they have just not producing very well this season. So I think that the Jets have some things to figure out for sure. Meanwhile, the Vikings are looking to be 5-0, which they'll be one of 2 teams at the moment in the league that have that record. So obviously, we're going to be seeing a lot from Justin Jefferson, and they have a ton of guys who have just been making really big statements, like Aaron Jones, Jordan Addison, and that's just to name a few. But I think it will be a battle of, who will have the stronger offense for this game. And of course, it is going to be an international one. So set your clocks. I think it's at 6:30 a.m. I'm not sure if it's Eastern or Pacific time, but pretty early in the morning this weekend, this upcoming Sunday. So I ask Pete, Brooke, does the Vikings or do the Jets have a stronger offense?
Ooh, I mean, based on this season, I would say the Vikings. Just
Love that.
obviously with their record. I think that Aaron Rodgers was so hyped up and he was supposed to be the answer. And you mentioned they have these weapons in Garrett Wilson and Breece Hall. They traded for Mike Williams in the offseason. They were really set to become this really explosive big offense. And when you pair it with what the Jets defense is also supposed to be, people were saying Super Bowl contenders. And now it's like, can they even win a game? Like, what's happening? Like, they're losing to the Broncos at home, like you mentioned. So I think Sam Darnold is surprising a lot of people. The Vikings have looked absolutely explosive, and I think we're going to see more of that in London. It's possible the Vikings become London's team if they're blown away by what they see. Imagine Sam Darnold, hero in London. That'd be adorable. So that's what I have to say about that.
Yeah, we'd love to see it. And knowing Aaron Rodgers probably has a big following from even his Green Bay days, I'm wondering what the stands will look like. But Pete?
Listen, I'd be contradicting myself if I said the Jets, because I think on an episode or two ago I said I didn't think they were going to win more than 8 or 9 games. So the Vikings have come out and surprised everybody. Sam Darnold is leading the league in touchdowns right now. I think he has 11 touchdowns passes. If who's that awesome wide receiver? Well, they have Jordan Addison, and then they have Justin Jefferson. Like, if those guys are healthy and Darnold continues to do Darnold things in 2024, then I don't think this is going to be a very close matchup. I think they're going to be out-coached. They're going to be outplayed. And who knows, though? It's Aaron Rodgers, and maybe they turn things around. But it's looking like the Vikings. It's a boring take, but it's the take I got.
It's fair. It's fair.
One thing, speaking of the offenses of each of the teams, what we were expecting is this more explosive offense from the Jets. There could be a ray of sunshine coming down on them. Not as soon as London, but maybe when they get back home.
Yeah.
There are some rumors that Davante Adams could get traded to the Jets.
And that's the tea.
And that might be what they need to take the Jets to the next level. So Davante Adams, he played for the Green Bay Packers for like 7 years, and he in 2022 was traded to the Raiders, where he's been since then. And in an interview this week on Kay Adams' podcast, he said he would prefer to get traded, which is not really mincing words. He's saying, I would prefer to get out of here, actually. I don't want to be here anymore.
Sign me up if there's a train. And
he is one, like, the best, if not one of the best players on the Raiders. So that would be such a loss for that fan base. You know, they have Gardner Minshew as their quarterback, not very exciting. They have Max Crosby on the defensive side. He's really fun to watch. And I feel like other than that, Davante Adams is such a big name on that team. So if they lose him, it's like, are you guys okay? Like, who is this Gardner Minshew man going to throw to?
Yeah.
So there's been nothing officially that's linked
Jacoby Myers.
Thank you. It's more of a rhetorical question. But we're giving you guys the facts, so that is who we'll throw to. Maybe Jacoby Myers, get him on your fantasy team.
There we go.
But yeah, no official reports. It's very, very early speculation just because he's now saying he would like a trade. So people are linking him to the Jets because he played for the Packers for all those years with Aaron Rodgers. They had a really successful run together. They would love to be reunited. We know that they already have chemistry from their time on the field together in Green Bay.
Yep.
Some other teams that are maybe looking at grabbing him would be like a Chiefs with all the injuries that they're having. But I think right now the front runner is the Jets. We don't know what this trade would look like. Perhaps a couple first or second round picks in the upcoming draft for next year. So we will see what happens. I would be, I don't know. I mean, the Jets already have what it feels like is a good enough wide receiver room to be making more strides than they currently are. So I don't know if an additional weapon downfield will make a difference for them.
Yeah.
But I do think that Davante Adams wants to get out of Vegas.
100%.
And I hope that he's able to do that.
Yeah. I mean, I see a guy like Davante Adams, and it seems like there have been rumors or a sense of frustration for multiple years while he's been on that team. And time is of the essence. He's been in the league for a while, and I feel like he really needs a quarterback who is consistent. And I feel like there's just been so much movement on the Raiders that we won't be able to see his full potential in his like later part of his career. And something that could be interesting is somebody like Aaron Jones, who they have that connection and they played together before. And it would be amazing to see. I mean, that would like break the internet in the NFL if we saw them get back together and playing on the same team, I mean. So it seems like Aaron Rodgers right now, I can't quite tell who exactly he has the best connection with within the receiver core. Davante Adams very well could be that guy. And even looking at some of over the last few weeks, like, I don't really know like who's his guy on the team. Like, he doesn't really get along. You don't really see him getting along too much with the receivers. There's even some like, back and forth on him getting along with Robert Saleh. And there was some controversy this weekend that came out with Robert Saleh saying that they were going to cut back on, a play that Aaron likes to do with a certain cadence. And that's like something that Aaron Rodgers has always done very well. But in this game, for whatever reason, the offensive line just couldn't get it together. And they had 5 penalties against it because of false starts on the offensive line for the Jets. And Robert Saleh is like, we're going to scale that back. Meanwhile, Aaron Rodgers, if you read between the lines on what he was saying, he was like, no, I think we just need to hold our guys accountable. So there is some rumors that are going around that the head coach and Aaron are just like not getting along. But they're going to need to figure that out sooner than later because they do have some pretty big games coming up. This first one is going to be, against the Vikings. That's going to be the true test on how much they're able to kind of figure out some of the mistakes from week 4. So we'll see.
Yeah, this stuff with Robert Saleh is really interesting. Also, if you guys remember the video of he was trying to like give him fist bumps or hug him or something, and Aaron Rodgers like pushed him away, like flicked him, and then like gave him like a kind of like a mean look. And it's like Aaron Rodgers is, just an interesting man, and I don't imagine that he's the easiest to get along with. And I do think that could be contributing to his not so stellar performance on the Jets so far, that he's just not clicking with any of his wide receivers, not clicking with the coach. So maybe Davante Adams coming back into his life could be the answer to the Jets' problems.
Yeah. We'll see. A lot to be excited about. Some strong offenses on both sides of the ball. Their defenses, we know that the Jets, they started off this season looking really good. And the Vikings have just been consistent on that side. Yeah. So I think the big thing is just going to be stopping those star receivers like, Breece Hall and Justin Jefferson on the Vikings. So more to come.
Justin Jefferson has been killing it in my fantasy league. So for that, I thank him.
We love it.
Anything else on that matchup, or we want to go to the next game?
Thorough coverage has taken place. So no.
It's telling us we've been going on for too long. Okay, we'll speed it up for the next one. Is it mine?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Right.
As Noelle mentioned, we're covering previews for our favorite 4 games coming up this weekend. So the next one we wanted to talk about was Bills versus Texans coming up. I think it's this Sunday. Yes. So the drama here is that Stephon Diggs will be facing his former team for the first time since leaving the Buffalo Bills for the Texans in the offseason. And this was not a quiet, peaceful, happy trade. This was not something that, both sides are, still love each other and there was a, mutual departure. This was Stephon Diggs seemed to have a little bit of an ego problem, seemed like he was really vocal and animated about making sure he got a lot of passes, a lot of attention from Josh Allen. Josh Allen maybe wanted to spread the love a little bit, and I think he was just distracting for that offense. So there's tension here, and these two will be facing off when the Bills and Texans go head-to-head this weekend. Bills have had, even without Stephon Diggs, or perhaps especially without Stephon Diggs, one of the top offenses in the league, scoring an average of 30.5 points per game, which if you're not winning with 30 points per game, which, they are. So that's crazy. That's really solid. That's the second highest in the league. However, they are coming off a pretty bad loss this past weekend to the Ravens, 35-10. And starting off the season 3-0, the Bills were looking absolutely unstoppable. Josh Allen for MVP. Everything was clicking for them. They're going against a Ravens team that was 1-2, and the Ravens just ran all up on them. Derek Henry was doing laps around that field. The defense could not stop him, and I think it really took the wind out of the Bills' sails. So this will be a big game for them to come back and correct and show that loss was not signifying that our season is going downhill. That was a fluke, and we are coming back better than ever. We are going to match up against the Texans and see what we can do. The Texans are all...
Sorry.
The Texans are also 3-1, but a lot of people have said they've had a little bit of an easier schedule than the Bills. So we'll see what that means for them. I do think the Bills are favored in this game, but we'll see what happens. My question for both of you guys to ponder is, was losing Stephon Diggs key for the Bills offense to finally start clicking this season?
Wow. I love that. I think it was.
Yeah.
Yeah. When I think about all of the drama that kind of led to the trade of Stephon Diggs, I feel like there was just a lot of conversations coming out of that locker room, and especially at the end of last season. Actually, let me take a step back. At the beginning of the season, and even like years prior, it seemed like Josh Allen and Stephon Diggs were just like the best of friends. They had so much content together online. And then slowly but surely, as we see the season unfold, Stephon Diggs just isn't getting as many reps as maybe he used to. And you could tell he kind of not threw a tantrum about it, but like he was a little upset about it, It was kind of acting like a little kid, like, where's my reps? And you saw that relationship kind of dissipate over time. So I do feel like if you're in that locker room, that has to kind of cause some tension in not only just with Josh Allen and Stephon Diggs, but everybody around you. Those are your two like main guys who are getting you those touchdowns and helping you win games. He was, I would say, like one of the main receiving. He was like Josh Allen's guy last year. That's kind of got to cause a little bit of tension just within the locker room in general. Now that that's gone, you see them having these explosive plays. Like you said, he's spreading the ball out a lot. You're seeing guys like Dalton Kincaid step up and rise to the occasion. So I think it was a good thing for them overall. And like sometimes when you have these like star wide receivers who are kind of demanding a lot, maybe they can shine somewhere else. I don't know if that was what the Bills needed in order to win, because clearly they're winning games with or without him.
How about against the Ravens?
Well, the Ravens are a different story, okay? Like the Ravens are just always going to be tough. The only people who have beat them are the Chiefs, and yes, they've probably had some losses. Of course, they are 2-2 now.
The Raiders beat them, which was strange.
That was strange. And the first weeks of the season are always tough, but I feel like we have been seeing the Ravens kind of get back into their usual groove. Lamar Jackson hasn't lost. I forget what his record is against the NFC, but it's insane. He's lost like, I don't know, under 5 games against the NFC.
Oh, wow.
It's crazy. Obviously the AFC is a little bit more, he's facing those teams a little bit more often. So I don't know what that record looks like, but Ravens is always going to be a tough game. I don't think Josh Allen has ever played very well against them. So I feel like that was almost expected, even for as hot of a season as you're starting. That doesn't mean that they're going to continue to lose. They could, but I think that they're going to continue to be a solid playoff contender.
And you think they're better off without Stephon Diggs? Just to confirm.
Yeah.
Pete, your thoughts?
I mean, no, I don't think they're better off. I think he's a great receiver. I mean, I'm trying to think like who did they replace him with? And I don't know, which makes me think that whoever it is isn't better than Stephon Diggs. Yeah, I mean, there's drama, and then I think people like us in the press like elevate it to another level. But Stephon Diggs is a stud, and I think to a certain degree, when you have somebody in the locker room that is angry because he's not getting the ball enough or frustrated with the way the team's playing, to a certain degree, if you don't have those people, you kind of need somebody that has high expectations because it makes you work harder. And I think Stephon Diggs is a really good wide receiver. So I don't know if I would say they're better off. And I'm kind of on the what have you done for me lately train in terms of teams. And, losing by that much to the Ravens is not a good look. And they couldn't pass the ball. So Stephon Diggs might have came in handy.
I mean, they've been putting up over 30 points in every game except for the Ravens one. So I think the rest of the season will tell us which is the outlier, the first 3 weeks or the Ravens game. It looked pretty ugly. They couldn't really get anything done.
I mean, when it comes to the AFC, it's like how do you perform against the Chiefs and the Ravens?
Yes.
Right? Like those are your teams that you have to beat. So if you beat the Dolphins by 20, it's like, congrats, but it really, what matters is like how can you perform against the best teams, and the Bills have struggled with that. And the Ravens and the Bengals and the like AFC playoffs, like those are the teams that have been able to make it further, at least in recent history, than the Bills. But I'm not dogging on the Bills. Bills are great. I just think that sometimes when you need them to play like they've been playing, it's just like what is going on? So
yeah. I feel like there's also been some pretty big rookies that have been stepping up, like Keon Coleman. We've been seeing him get a lot more reps.
He dropped a few though.
He did.
I always feel bad for the rookies. Like,
I know.
There's so much pressure. They're just babies.
They're just little babies.
They're babies on the field.
But even if he can't make those explosive plays, then they got to get the run game going. I feel like that's like for everybody. If you have a good defense and if you're up against a good defense, like you gotta be strong in the run game, and that's what we'd like to see, at least from the Bill side.
Mm-hmm. If they lose to the Texans, I do think a lot of people will be criticizing the first 3 weeks and just being like, we shouldn't have been so excited about the Bills because they can't perform against the Ravens. They can't perform against CJ Stroud and the Texans. They also will be facing another challenge for the next 4 games with Von Miller being suspended without pay. Noelle, tell us why.
Oh my gosh. Well, this is a little bit of a concerning story. Von Miller, he had a personal conduct violation because there were rumors last year in November while the Bills were during week 8 of their bye. There was accusations of him hitting his pregnant girlfriend, excuse me. But he was suspended for those 4 games without pay. He was accused of 3rd-degree felony assault, which does not sound very good.
Sounds pretty bad.
This was basically a case about domestic violence, which obviously we are big proponents of. We do not tolerate that.
We're anti-domestic violence.
We sure are. Yes, absolutely. And we wanted to bring this up because obviously, like, this probably happens a lot more than we think. I mean, you have these big, powerful guys who make a lot of money and they think that they can do whatever they want with their partners, and it's just not okay. So I'm glad that there was at least some justice to be made, and the NFL made a stance on this. Von Miller did come out and say that this is 100% false, even though there were some stories that said back in the summertime this year, he submitted, or like what is it, the word? Like
turned himself in.
He turned himself in. Yes.
He surrendered himself?
Surrendered, yes, that's the word I was thinking
like
of.
when you surrender an animal for adoption. Yeah. It's so sad.
Yeah, he
surrendered himself.
He surrendered himself, and then he posted bail. It was like $5,000, so not the biggest punishment, but still a storyline. This is hot off the press. We just heard this about 3 or 4 hours ago, so you heard it here, maybe not first, but you heard it here.
Well, the irony of it was only $5,000 that he had to pay in bail to just be able to be free after hitting his pregnant girlfriend. I'm sure he's losing much, much more than that in the 4 unpaid games. So the NFL is kind of like, no, we don't like that look for the NFL. We don't like that you did that.
Yeah.
It's a little bit confusing. I'm not saying that there's any, I don't know if there's any, he's saying it didn't happen. And then I think she's almost said it was a misunderstanding, but there was a police call where there was yelling and there was, things said that did not sound good. So whether it's full blown, actual like physical violence, or I mean, he's definitely not innocent. Where there's smoke, there's fire. There's something going on here. I hope that he can take these next 4 weeks to figure it out. And for his girlfriend, and now there's 3 kids, for their sake, I really hope that that is something that he learns his lesson from. All this public scrutiny that he's getting from this being such a big story in the news. Awful.
It is awful. And I do think that the Bills will be missing him in that game because he leads the NFL right now in sacks. So hopefully the Bills will have an answer in their defense when they face the Texans this weekend.
Hopefully he doesn't take out his defensive aggression at home.
Anything else on Bills Texans?
No. Looking forward to it. Sunday, 10 a.m.
Yes.
And
who's going to win? Did you make a prediction?
Oh, we haven't, but we haven't on any of the games yet. So
make one now.
We said
Go
Vikings.
with your gut.
Vikings are going to win. I think.
Oh yeah,
the Bills are going to win.
Oh, love that.
Thanks.
Noelle. Bills or Texans?
Shit. I love both teams. I'm not gonna lie. I do think that the Bills will win, but I want the Texans to win.
I agree. I want the Texans to win too.
Yeah.
Pete?
I'll take the Texans.
Love that.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it looks like 67% of all bets are on the Bills to win. So
they're on the
We're
Bills
against
to
ya.
win by more than 1.5 points. Right?
That is
Is that
wild.
how you read that? We're not
Yeah,
really
Bills.
like
Is
experts.
it Bills plus minus 1.5? Sorry.
yeah.
Then yes. Bills got to win by 2.
Yeah.
Woo.
I think that will.
I think that'll happen.
Yeah.
Should we place a bet? No, we shouldn't.
And this is sponsored by FanDuel. I'm just kidding. I wish. One day. All right. Let's move into this is our third story.
third game.
Third story / game that we're going to be covering today is the Chiefs Saints. I know we kind of touched on the Chiefs already, but this is going to be an exciting game. They are playing at Arrowhead, I believe. Now, the reason why this is going to be an interesting game is the Chiefs have had a lot of injuries over the last few weeks of this regular season so far. Rashee Rice, who is their starting their starting wide receiver, and their star running back, Isaiah Pacheco, both out on injuries. No sight on when they will return. I think that they're still doing some testing, at least for Rashee Rice, because this one is a little bit more recent. However, the Chiefs are still 4-0. And for whatever reason, Patrick Mahomes and company just is able to figure it out in one way or another. And we're really going to see that being put to the test against the Saints. Now, the Saints, on the other hand, they're on a 2-game losing streak, even though they had such a strong start to the year into the season. In the first 2 games alone, the Saints put up 91 points. It was like a 44-point game. Both were over 40 points. And now it looks like they've kind of lost some of that steam, but they're hoping to regain that back. But with some of these injuries on the Chiefs side of the ball, we know that there are some veteran guys like Travis Kelce, who, we've talked about him quite a bit on our show and saying that he hasn't been producing as much. And we saw a little bit of life from him come back in the game against the Chargers this past weekend. So I'm wondering how much they're really going to be leaning on Travis Kelce in this game. You also have people like Kareem Hunt, who was picked it up in free agency. He was a previous Browns player, and he had quite a decent amount of reps in the run game during the Chargers from this past weekend. But again, I think that this is just going to be a tale of which offense is going to be the strongest, and also how the defense is going to be responding to it on both sides of the ball. The Chiefs have just been able to put up stop after stop. Meanwhile, Derek Carr and company, they just need to figure it out in the red zone. And I think that the Chiefs can kind of exploit that in this game. So I think that those are some of the most important things that I have in mind for this matchup. And I'm just really hoping that, the Saints could put an end to all this. 4-0. We need them to be humbled maybe just once. Maybe
that
just
would be
once.
beautiful.
We need it. We sure do. But my question is, will Travis Kelce have the best game of this season so far?
You know what? I think he will
I love that.
because he's still, he showed improvement last week against the Chargers, but he's always good against the Chargers. I think he had more receiving yards in that game than he did the entire season. So I think that he feels the pressure of the media. He is hearing what people are saying about him. His teammates showed up in Travis Kelce's support shirts to practice or the pregame this past weekend.
Yeah.
So he knows that all eyes are on him. And he also knows that with all the injuries that the Chiefs are facing, his veteran status, his consistency throughout the years, his relationship with Mahomes, it's needed now more than ever. And when the going gets tough, Patrick Mahomes is going to throw to his guy. Maybe he's not getting open as much as he used to. Maybe he's a little bit slower, but I really, really believe that Travis Kelce is going to figure it out. He is such a good player. He was off to a slow start. It's taking him a second to find his groove again. But once he does, I think he's going to be explosive again. He doesn't seem like the type of person to get down on himself. He, as we talked about last episode, just has so much going on in his, celebrity media life.
Yeah.
We didn't even mention that he has a show on FX, Grotesquerie or something, premiering.
Yeah.
So he's starring in a whole show.
Didn't know when that was happening.
Didn't know when that happened. Again, this is why it's like, okay, maybe he's a little bit out of shape. But no, I think this is his time to step up. This is when the Chiefs need him, especially if they don't acquire another wide receiver or another weapon on the offense. He is going to be getting that ball a lot.
Yes.
That's what we're used to seeing.
I agree. Pete?
Yeah, I'm a Derek Carr guy, but the Saints are going to lose. That's it. That's all I got. Yeah, that's all I got. Saints are going to lose.
Yeah, I mean,
Chiefs are going to Chiefs.
one thing that the Saints have going for them is that their defense has given up just 7.5 points per game, which is fourth in the NFL. So let's
crazy.
hope that Derek Carr, Alvin Kamara, Rashid Shaheed, Chris Olave, all those guys can really play that complimentary ball to come out with the win. And we're excited for that matchup.
Yeah. Or 17.5 points per game.
What'd I say?
But maybe we put them on upset alert.
7's crazy.
Sorry.
They lost.
17. I can't read.
17.5 is still really solid.
Yeah.
Do we put the Chiefs on upset alert or not?
No.
Officially.
I'm not putting that on upset alert. I think they're going to
We
keep
got to put
winning.
someone on upset alert. We have to.
Oh,
I mean, it
I would
doesn't have
pick
to be the
anyone but the
Chiefs.
Chiefs.
So far that we've discussed, or just in general?
I'll put the Bills before the Chiefs on upset alert.
Okay.
Yeah, 100%.
All right, Bills are on upset alert.
We'll see.
Wow. They've been put on notice.
Yep. Paperwork's filed.
I would love if the Saints came out and win.
That would be awesome.
Yeah, that
And I
Clint
wouldn't hear
Kubiak.
the end of Derek Carr from Pete.
Derek
That's my
Carr
guy.
MVP.
I think it'll be a close game. It's just,
Yeah.
I feel like the Chiefs always find a way to get the ball at the last, as the last possession. And, like him or not, Harrison Butker can kick field goals from a long way out. So
Hate him, actually.
He did miss though, right?
He missed a 65-yarder, but it's still good to see him miss.
65-yarder.
Yeah, that he couldn't do.
He's
He
supposed to
sucks.
miss that kick.
No,
Yeah.
he sucks. I'm happy that he missed a kick. No
Boo.
longer Mr. Perfect. Stupid Harrison Butker. But yeah, I really hope that we see a Saints win. That'd be really exciting. And like you mentioned, every game with the Chiefs has been close.
Yeah.
We're going to get hope that they can finally be upset. And then at the very last minute, we're going to see another Chiefs win. Just as it's written in the script, just as the refs would allow a pass interference call in the last 30 seconds of the game to put them in field goal range. Like, we've seen it all before. We know what's going to happen.
As it was written.
As it was written.
I don't hate Saints +5. I don't hate that bet.
Okay.
Yeah, I like
Yeah.
that. Yeah, it says 60%. All the money.
So that
Going
means they're
to the
going to
Saints.
lose by 5 points?
That means
Not
people
really.
think that the the point differential will be less than 5.
They think the Saints are going to lose by more than 5 points. So basically, they think the Chiefs are going to win by a touchdown. They don't think it's going to be like within a 3-point, like a field goal type of game.
I'd hate to agree.
Yeah. Do we think that there will be any other appearances at this game?
Well, Miss Taylor, I'm glad you brought it up. She was not at the Chargers game.
2 for 2.
She was not at the Falcons game. And it's had a lot of Swifties just really scratching their heads and wondering, is there trouble in paradise? Was the contract real? Is this relationship doomed? I don't know. There's people making so many excuses. Some people are saying everything's fine, stop overreacting. She just wasn't at the games. It doesn't make sense with the travel. She also is going to be resuming her Eras tour later this month on October 18th, I believe. And so she obviously has to get into shape with that. She has to maybe just, regroup with her dancers and do all the rehearsals. You can't just meet up the day before and say, hey, remember this whole Eras tour thing we do? Let's do this again. Like, she has a lot of stuff going on. It's not as if she took the whole football season off. Another excuse that I'm seeing online is like security concerns, but it's kind of like security concerns wherever she goes. I don't know. It's so hard to say.
But isn't the concern that she was at every game and then all of a sudden she's at none? Right? Isn't that kind of where the suspicion stems from? I
think
wasn't she had like a little bit of a break in between Eras tours.
She had like a really long break where she had maybe like 6 months off. And then this one she's like prepared to go back in like a couple weeks.
Yeah. Like 3 weeks.
We're looking at is the fact that this weekend, October 5th, Travis Kelce's birthday.
Mark your calendars.
Mark
He's a
your
Libra.
calendars. Oh, Libra boy.
We love Libra season.
So if you don't see a happy birthday post, if you don't see paparazzi photos of her at his birthday party, that is when I'll be concerned. I understand if you can't make the trek out to LA. I don't understand if you can't celebrate your boyfriend's birthday with him if you've been dating over a year.
Yeah, and that's where we're really going to be on Taylor Watch.
We're on Taylor Watch this weekend.
We sure are. Yes. We'll be looking out for that. That's going to be our breaking news next week. Amazing. Anything else? Final words, Chiefs, Saints.
I just want the Chiefs to lose.
Please. For all of our listeners who are Chiefs fans,
we love you guys. You're having a great season.
Yes,
you can understand why the other fans would be frustrated, but we're happy for you guys.
Yes, and we are Travis Kelce fans. It's just a little personal for us in the actual football side of it all.
Yeah, we love Travis Kelce. We love Taylor.
Let's see a good game. How about that?
Yeah, they always give us a good game.
Yeah.
It's always close.
Sometimes with PIs, a little bit more than we want.
A little bit more called in one direction over the other. Okay, Pete, do you want to close us out on our last Week 5 preview coming up this Thursday night?
Absolutely. And if you're still here, thanks for hanging with us through the episode.
Where would they have gone?
These two girls are Girls Don't Fumble. That's Brooke and Noelle and producer Pete. If you don't know, now you know. I think this is the most exciting matchup personally for me. Falcons versus the Buccaneers. And really, before discussing this matchup, I think I'd be remiss if I didn't share some stats from Sir Baker Mayfield's absolute dismantling of the Eagles' defense last week. Okay, get this. Let me know if you believe this.
Write this down.
Write this down. You got a pen? Okay.
Sure
Baker Mayfield threw for 347 yards and accounted for 3 touchdowns, 2 passing, 1 rushing.
What?
I don't know if you guys saw the rushing touchdown, but he literally dragged an Eagles player into the end zone with his right leg.
He got
and
that
then
dog
shook
in
him
a
out, shook him out, and it was an aggressive run. And on top of that, he completed 30 of 47 passes without an interception, 33-16 victory. They had a 24-0 lead in the first half. He's been doing this. This isn't a fluke game. Other than a bad loss to the Broncos, he has absolutely crushed. So shout out Baker. You're doing your thing. And I think you look at a quarterback like Drew Brees. He played on the Chargers. I think his first 2 records were not good. All I know is that there's some quarterbacks that they're like me. I'm a slow learner. Right, I'm not getting into the league and being a who's the guy from the Washington Commanders?
Jaden Daniels.
I'm not a Jaden Daniels. I'm a Baker Mayfield. It just takes me a minute.
Slow burn.
And his story is inspiring. You have to go play for the Cleveland Browns. Like Deshaun Watson can't do it. Baker couldn't do it. Apparently Joe Flacco is the only quarterback that I can think of in recent times that's been able to win consistently in Cleveland. So Baker played for the Rams for like, I don't know, a season or like a half a season or something, and like wasn't really all that bad. So anyway, I think Baker's found a great home in Tampa Bay. I think it's a really good fit. You also can't forget that he's following up like a Tom Brady quarterbacking the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. So big shoes to fill, and he's doing it, and he's doing it well. But yeah, to get to the matchup, NFC South matchup here, Thursday night game. You're looking at, the Bucs in first place in the NFC South, Falcons in second place. So a lot on the line here. A win for the Falcons would also be a loss for the Bucs. So it would put them, right in that same spot. I think both of these teams have got to be feeling pretty good. They're both coming off big wins. Obviously, the Bucs blowout of the Eagles is a lot better than a field goal win at the last second against the Saints. No, not trying to diss the Saints. I'm just saying it's not as impressive. And yeah, I mean, my take on this one is I am a little shocked that the Buccaneers aren't favored to win. Right now, the Bucs are plus 1.5, so I'm taking that all day. So is the public, with 73% of the bets going to the Buccaneers. I'd maybe even take Buccaneers money line on this one. You get a little bit more cash in your pocket, a little bit more risk. Obviously, that's how it works. More risk, more reward. But if Baker Mayfield continues to complete 70% of his passes, and get this, he has the second most touchdown passes in the league behind Sam Darnold. So just let that sit for a second. Sam Darnold and Baker Mayfield are the two top quarterbacks in the NFL right now in terms of touchdowns. Who could have guessed it? Couldn't have written it better myself. So let's go Bucs. Let's go Baker. I don't have any disdain or negative feelings towards the Falcons. I just think the Bucs are a better story, and I'm going with the Bucs. So take it or leave it. That's my pick. Girls, am I crazy? Is Kirk Cousins going to make me, swallow my words? What are your thoughts? Your 2 cents?
I'm speechless. No, I'm just kidding.
Speechless for what reason?
I'm just kidding. I don't think anything that you said was wrong. I think that the general public, sports outlets, the news, they're very high on Baker Mayfield right now. I think that the big question is if Mike Evans, who is currently questionable, will be ready to play Thursday night. Mike Evans is a big piece of that offense. Not to say that there aren't any others that can step up to the plate, but we love to see that connection. And I do think if I had to choose, I would choose the Bucs. They seem more exciting to watch as much as we love Kirk O'Chains. I think that it will be a close game, or an exciting game at least. And even just looking at the stats against, how many, like what they're averaging on the offense, it's pretty even. The Bucs have a slight advantage with an average of 24.3 points per game. Falcons are at 18.8 points per game. So because of that slight advantage, I don't think you're wrong. I'm gonna go Bucs.
I'm going to go Bucs as well. I do feel like their performance this season has been consistent, more so than the Falcons. I remember watching the Falcons beat the Eagles on the very last drive, which was very impressive by Kirk Cousins. Or was it? Or was it more just really disappointing from the Eagles? It's kind of like the Eagles have this thing where they just fall apart and don't play the football that they're capable of playing. And I think that the Falcons didn't play winning football that whole game and just happened to really perform well on that last drive.
Yeah.
So I think this 2-2 record for them is honestly generous. I think that they'll slip a little bit. As you mentioned, we're always going to be Kirk O'Chains fans. We love Kirk Cousins. We want to see him succeed. But there's nothing better than a second chance story that Baker Mayfield is getting, that we're seeing with Sam Darnold, even Justin Fields for the Steelers. Like, we love to see these quarterbacks that people have counted out and moved around and prioritized other players and quarterbacks over them, and now seeing them succeed in new homes the best thing that you could ask for. So I hope that happens to Bryce Young. That is my dream for him. I feel so awful for him with how well Andy Dalton's doing. And God, you just see the videos. So this has nothing to do with what we're talking about. I can't get Bryce Young off my mind.
Poor guy.
So yeah, I agree with you guys. I think the Bucs are going to win. And this is like not even a question. It's more of just a comment. Somehow like Baker Mayfield, like, you know how like this is really taking a different turn. You know, people show like the different colors of folders in school and it's like, you can't explain it, but science is green. You guys seen that meme where it's like, science is the green folder.
Yeah.
Baker Mayfield is the Buccaneers.
Yeah.
Like they have this same exact vibe.
Yeah.
Like the Bucs, like colors, location, little logo.
Tampa,
it is so Baker Mayfield aura coded to me.
Yeah.
That I just feel like it's a match made in heaven.
I love that.
Same way as science green folder.
Yeah. And I feel like the community in Tampa Bay has really welcomed him with open arms as well. And it seems like he's giving that energy right back. And I feel like he's pretty funny in his interviews and stuff. So people love like the personality coming through. So we're rooting for him. And
Absolutely.
We love to see it. As much as, again, Kirk O'Chains, we've covered him quite a bit. I think I'm going Bucs.
Yay. So that's not an upset.
Bucs trio.
Bucs trio.
Technically, it would be an upset if they won, but I don't. I guess we could lightly put the Falcons on upset alert. I think Travis and Taylor are on upset alert more so than.
I hope not. Fumblers promise you won't leave if they break up. Even though we've been talking badly about the Chiefs, not talking badly, but just hoping for their demise.
Yes. They just need to be humble. Just one loss. It's okay. You can still make it to the Super Bowl.
When's the last time the Chiefs lost a game?
I don't even want to know, honestly.
Like a year.
Against, I don't know.
Yeah, it would have been regular season.
How many losses did they have? Am I thinking 3? Is that crazy?
How many losses do they have in like? What do you mean?
From last season?
Oh yeah, I don't know. Not many. Actually,
3 or 5?
Yeah, 4 maybe.
Yeah.
I'm gonna see if I can Google it.
What was their record?
Not exactly. I have no idea.
It's okay.
Well, it's been a while.
You're going to play the Chiefs in the AFC Championship.
Who is?
Someone else.
Me?
Yeah.
Me?
Us?
Like,
you don't think that the Chargers are going to knock them out of the AFC West?
hard to say.
That's not going to happen.
You know, I wish Herbert was healthy.
Don't we all?
Yeah.
Take my high ankle.
Yeah.
Not even using it.
Oh, that offensive line. Oof.
Well, we lost 2 of our guys. So.
Yeah.
Yeah, Joe Alt.
I know. Big boy Joe.
I saw a little boy wearing a Joe Alt jersey.
That is so cute.
It was really sweet.
Purchased too soon. He's out.
Yeah.
Well, I think he'll come back soon, but I love him to death. He's so good.
Yeah.
Until he just got injured immediately.
I think that boy like saw himself in him, if that makes sense.
He's a big boy.
He was like he was sweet, like this tall.
He's short but mighty.
Yeah.
That is too cute.
Yeah.
Oh, I love that. Well, we miss you, Joe Alt.
Yes.
I found a weird shirtless picture of Joe Alt on Noelle's phone the other night.
What?
Yeah.
Into that kind of thing?
She said it was for the pod. I was like, okay.
Oh yeah. She sent it to me. It's legit.
It's just like I get a flashback of draft night when he's sitting in that chair and he like gets up and his knees are literally like up to the camera because he's so tall.
He looked like he was being held hostage in a chair that was much too small for him. That was like a very plus sized big leather chair.
It was wild.
What a king.
What a king.
322 pounds of king.
That's the size we like our kings.
100% king.
More to love. All right, you guys. Well, we are very excited for week 5 this weekend. We got a few teams on bye weeks. The bye weeks are starting. So get your fantasy teams, get them going. And yeah, we can't wait. We'll see how many of these games we were right about and what teams we put on upset alert if that ends up happening, including Taylor and Travis.
Ooh. Yeah, we're on Taylor watch.
We're on Taylor watch. We're on Falcons watch. We're on... What's the last one we were on?
The Bills.
Bills watch.
Bills Mafia, don't hate us.
We love you.
Bills.
Okay, good night, Fumblers.
See you next time.
Bye.